When they are walking in this manner, elderly folks almost never fall down. 5 unanticipated walking patterns that can help you avoid falling. Have you ever considered the possibility that avoiding falls is not determined by being careful but rather by walking in the appropriate manner? As people get older, the fear of falling becomes a silent weight for the majority of them. How they move, how they organize their days, and even how liberated they feel when they step outside their front door are all altered as a result of this. What if, however, I told you that the majority of falls are not the result of random accidents and that there are very particular methods that you may walk that significantly lower the probability of an accident occurring? In this video, we are going to discuss 5 unconventional yet effective methods to walk that assists in the healing process. People that are older are able to maintain their balance. Neither the acquisition of pricey devices nor the mastery of difficult exercises are appropriate for these. These are straightforward modifications, minute shifts in posture, rhythm, and awareness that tap into the way with which the human body was built to move in a secure manner. Even as one gets older, this is where the unexpected part comes in. Quite a few of these methods are unconsciously performed. It is natural for children to use them. Trained athletes are able to make use of them. And individuals who continue to live a robust life long into their 80s and beyond frequently rediscover them. Regardless of whether or not they are aware of it, stay tuned until the very end, because you could just discover that preserving your mobility and independence does not require you to slow down or give up ground. Rather than working harder, it is about moving smarter. In addition, once you have mastered these 5 techniques, you will never walk the same way again. And this is in the most positive sense possible. Now, let's get something going. First, make sure to look down and inspect your surroundings every few steps. This is one of the most straightforward yet efficient methods. Walking more slowly is not helpful for older persons who want to prevent falling. It depends on where they look and how frequently they do so. People who fall very infrequently have established a calm practice of letting their eyes gently scan downward every few steps. This is not to be confused with a steady downward look, which can actually throw your balance off, but rather with brief rhythmic glances that help your brain keep track of what is coming. Whenever you walk, your eyes are the first line of defense you have. They are continuously providing your brain with information regarding changes in the surface, shadows, slopes, and minor impediments. On the other hand, as we become older, our vision begins to get more restricted. Where we are going, rather than what is underfoot, becomes the primary focus of our attention. And sometimes, without even being aware of it, we keep our attention fixed on the horizon, as if we are rushing through the day rather than strolling in harmony with the environment around us. Walking about while staring at the ground continually is not the solution to this problem. Consequently, this causes stiffness in the neck and causes your posture to be thrown forward. The key is to make use of something that is referred to as a predictive gaze technique, which is a fancy word for a straightforward routine. This means that you should gently change your attention downward every 3 to 4 steps. Just for a moment, in order to swiftly assess what is ahead of you and make any necessary modifications. You then bring your gaze back to the front of the room, feeling secure in the ground that your feet are treading on. It is not because they are cautious that people who naturally adopt this rhythm tend to fall less, rather, it is because they are aware of their surroundings. They are aware of what is beneath them before it is made a surprise to them. The uneven sidewalk, the garden hose, and the edge of the rug are all visible to them before they proceed to foot on it. When I was younger, I remember a man named Raymond who was 81 years old and used to go around his block every day. There was something that he stated in response to the question of how he avoided tripping over tree roots or damaged pavement that has stayed with me. My eyes did the majority of the walking for me. In no way did he shuffle. It was not every 5 seconds that he stopped. The only thing he did was look down, then look forward, and then it was on. Throughout the years, he remained erect thanks to the rhythm of scanning without gazing. What's more, there's more to it than just staying safe. The sharpness of your brain is maintained when it is always engaging in the process of absorbing and digesting new information from its environment. It continues to be engaged. When you walk, you are not simply moving. You are engaging with the world around you. This continuous involvement is what maintains both the body and the mind in a state of alertness. If you find that you are staring straight ahead or, even worse, zoning out while you are walking, you should consider modifying the rhythm of your stride. By incorporating those brief, reflective looks into your stride, you are not attempting to be scared but rather to be present. Give your eyes the opportunity to direct you in the same manner that they did when you were younger and more naturally tuned into your surroundings. Because, in reality, equilibrium is not solely determined by the muscles or bones in the body. The issue is one of attention. And when you learn to allow your eyes lead the way, step by step, you put yourself in possession of one of the most effective instruments for maintaining your stability on the road you are traveling. The second recommendation is to lean slightly forward from the ankles. When it comes to walking in a more secure manner, especially as we become older, one of the most surprising methods to do it is to lean forward slightly. But not from the waist. Not by bending the upper back or hunching over backwards. It is the ankles that are responsible for the kind of lean that we are discussing here. It is so unobtrusive that you would not even be able to recognize it unless you were specifically seeking for it. Here is why it is significant. When you walk perfectly upright with a hard posture, with your chin up, shoulders back, and torso stiff, you might get the impression that you are standing very tall. It is common for your center of gravity to be located behind your stride. Although this is not always the case, to maintain your equilibrium, you will need to exert more effort. In addition, it raises the probability that you will be thrown off if you come into contact with an uneven surface, a patch of ice, or a rapid slope. However, if you allow your body to lean forward from the ankles rather than the hips, it will do something really strong. Your center of gravity will better coincide with your forward momentum as a result of your abdominal muscles contract in a normal way. The movement of your hips is reduced. Instead of landing behind you, your feet land in front of you. And maybe most crucially, it ensures that you remain active. Children walk in a manner that does not make them feel as though they are straining against gravity. It's the manner that people who hike vast distances move. Even dancers and martial artists find a way to keep their balance while still maintaining their rapid movements. Even though they seldom fall, many elderly people have a tendency to wander around, and they sometimes do it without even being aware of it. This can be tested in a straightforward manner. Try to imagine that you are being softly pushed from behind by a strong breeze while you are standing up straight. Instead of leaning into it with your chest or shoulders, you should lean into it from your ankles with your body. In spite of the fact that your body remains in alignment, your weight moves slightly forward. Because of this position, you are able to maintain your equilibrium while going forward in a continuous motion. When you establish that stance as the starting point for your stride, each step becomes more deliberate. You refrain from smacking your heels as you go. As you roll through your feet, you start to roll. As your arms fall into a natural swing, your feet become lighter, smoother, and more efficient. They also become more efficient. Moreover, it is more pleasant than it is safer. There was a woman named Denise who was 79 years old and still managed to walk a mile every day without experiencing any pain or fear. Strength training and expensive sneakers were not the secret to her success. This is how lean it was. It was at a balance lesson that she learned it many years ago. She also mentioned that once walking became second nature to her, it seemed less like an effort and more like flow rather than effort. This accomplishes exactly what it sets out to do. It alleviates the tension. It contributes to the beat. Your body is able to do the functions for which it was intended. Not to brace, not to freeze, not to hesitate, but to do something. By leaning forward from the ankles, you are allowing your nervous system to once again develop confidence in the earth. The micro hesitations that can lead to stumbles, trips, and mishaps are reduced as a result of trust when it is present. Therefore, If you have been walking tall but have been experiencing a sense of unsteadiness, or if you have been taught that maintaining a stiff posture is always the safest, it may be time to reconsider that statement. Not a sign of weakness is a tiny forward lean, even if it's only a few degrees. It is a sign of wisdom. You are relearning how to move with momentum rather than against it. And this is what is happening. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. 3. Swing your arms in a synchronized manner while keeping your shoulders relaxed. Concerning the prevention of falls, the majority of people concentrate their attention on their feet, namely where they step, how they step, and how quickly or slowly they move. However, one of the most powerful tools for walking in a steady and safe manner is really higher up your arms. Specifically how they swing, and whether or not your shoulders are relaxed enough to allow them to perform what they were designed to do. As people get older, they tend to quit swinging their arms as they get older. Shoulders that are stiff might sometimes be the cause of this condition. When this occurs, it is sometimes because they are carrying a bag or a cane. Sometimes it's nothing more than a subtle habit that develops over the course of time. Shoulders that are tight, fists that are clenched, or the traditional walk with the hands clasped behind the back. Despite the fact that it may give the impression of safety, it really hinders the body's natural capacity to maintain equilibrium when it is in motion. An important fact that many individuals fail to recognize is that your arms serve as counterweights. They swing in the opposite direction of your legs. When you step forward with your right leg, your left arm moves forward as well, and vice versa. This movement is not merely for aesthetic sake. Through the use of momentum, it is a component of the body's ability to maintain stability, stabilizing the torso, maintaining a symmetrical walk, and reducing the amount of twisting that can throw your spine or hips off balance are all benefits of doing out with your arms. In order to communicate with your neurological system that you are in rhythm, you should allow your arms to swing freely while keeping your elbows slightly bent, your hands relaxed, and your shoulders down, and that rhythm is responsible for sending messages all the way down to your feet. Across your entire posture, your upper and lower bodies will remain in sync as a result of this. It gives you better timing, and it makes it easier for your brain to map out each step with greater precision and ease. There is even research that supports this assertion. When older adults quit utilizing their arms when walking, they tend to acquire a gait that is more stiff and narrow. This results in shorter steps, less trunk rotation, and an increased risk of imbalance. Those who are able to keep or restore their natural arm swing, on the other hand, have a tendency to walk with greater self-assurance, greater stability, and less tiredness. One of the people I knew was a man named Carl who was 82 years old and used to go slowly around the hallways of his apartment building. When he was asked if he had ever swung his arms, he responded with a chuckle and stated, "I haven't done that since I was at disco." His walking, on the other hand, underwent a transformation once he began working with a physical therapist who assisted him in regaining that soft and rhythmic arm movement. A smoother texture emerged. With that, he stopped grasping the walls. The words, "Dad, you look taller now," were even spoken by his daughter. That was not a miracle. Muscle memory was the cause. To move in the same manner that it had in the past, his body merely required permission. In the event that you have been walking with your arms in a rigid position or if you have completely stopped using them, you should give them another chance to move freely. Hold your hands out in front of you. Reduce the tension in your shoulders. Additionally, maintain a natural swing with each arm as you stride. It is not necessary for you to overdo it. Simply let it to flow. For the simple reason that, when it comes to walking safely, it is not only about what happens below the waist, The activity engages the entire body, and as your arms join the rhythm, your entire body becomes more balanced, more coordinated, and significantly less likely to take an accidental tumble thanks to the increased coordination. At the fourth position, a brief pause is taken before the direction is changed. A number of elderly persons who never fall appear to have a tiny habit that they do without thinking about it. They appear to pause for a brief moment before turning around. Not exactly a spectacular halt, not a reluctance that was caused by fear, just a little, reflective moment in which the feet slow down, the body aligns, and the brain readjusts itself to the new environment. In addition, that delay, despite the fact that it may appear to be small, can be the deciding factor in whether or not you succeed in remaining upright. As we get older, our capacity to change the direction in which we are moving begins to gradually lose its strength. There is a slight slowdown in the brain's reaction speed. The joints do not rotate with the same degree of smoothness. Not only that, but the inner ear, which is the part of the ear that is in charge of balance and orientation, might not send signals as quickly as it used to. One of the most hazardous movements that an older adult can make is turning, which used to be an automatic action. This is especially true if the turn is performed too quickly or without any conscious thought. The good news is that your body is able to adjust to new circumstances. A phenomenon that experts refer to as anticipatory postural modifications is frequently observed in people who age well. This is merely a fancy way of expressing that they give themselves a moment to get ready. They take a momentary pause before making a radical turn. After allowing both feet to plant, they twist their body. They are not in a hurry to get away from the floor, rather, they move as if they are dancing with it. A retired educator by the name of Linda, who was 85 years old at the time, expressed that she had not experienced a fall since she was in her early 70s. What is her secret? Before turning, I always come to a halt. That is my only rule. It doesn't matter if it's the hallway, the kitchen, or the aisle of the grocery store. First the feet, then the body. She didn't express it in a way that made it extra special. It seemed as if she were speaking from a place of common sense. Perhaps it is the case. Give it some thought. When walking in a straight line, the majority of falls typically do not occur. Changes of direction, reaching, turning fast to attend to someone, or maneuvering through small spaces are all examples of situations that can cause them. At that precise instant, the brain and the body are required to simultaneously coordinate a large number of minute alterations across the board. In addition, if you are even slightly off balance, the floor will appear far sooner than you anticipated it would. However, when you take a moment to pause, when you allow your eyes to take the lead, when you allow your body to center itself, and then when you turn, you give your nervous system the opportunity to catch up. You move from a state of reactivity to one of desire. As soon as you realize that you are not being pursued, you immediately begin to move as if you are in command. To add insult to injury, the fact that pausing does not cause you to go more slowly is even more encouraging. This instills confidence in you. It gives your movement an air of elegance. Walking becomes something that is more grounded, more elegant, and significantly less likely to end with a stumble or a bruise as a result of this thing. Instead of turning around, you should try this instead if you have ever experienced dizziness while doing so, or if you have noticed that you are turning around quickly out of habit. Take a break, establish your footing, begin by turning your head, then move on to your shoulders, and last, turn your hips, before your body begins to redirect. Give it some time to readjust itself. Although it would appear to be a trivial matter, in the realm of extending one's life and preventing falls, the smallest of things frequently prove to be the most significant, because even a single second of pause today could mean that tomorrow you will be able to walk without assistance for many more years. I would appreciate it if you could use the fourth comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. In the fifth place, wearing shoes with a somewhat heavier tactile feel. Generally speaking, when people think of shoes, they think of comfort, cushioning, support, and resistance to slipping. In addition, those items are important. On the other hand, many people, particularly as they get older, fail to recognize that the sensation of the shoe is just as important as the way it fits properly. However, one of the most unanticipated methods to lessen the likelihood of falling is to select footwear that provides feedback. More specifically, you should look for shoes that are somewhat heavier and provide you the opportunity to feel the ground as you walk. So, here's why. It is possible that the nerves in our feet will grow less sensitive as we become older. There is a possibility that you will not notice minute variations in the surface texture, nuanced alterations in slope, or minute detritus underfoot. Before it is too late, it is possible that your foot will not fully detect what it is stepping on yet. The maintenance of equilibrium is made far more difficult when the brain does not get the sensory input at the appropriate time. However, footwear that offers tactile feedback, which means that it provides your feet with information about the ground with each step, can assist in re-establishing the connection that was previously lost. It is not necessary for these shoes to be cumbersome or rigid. In point of fact, shoes that are excessively soft or extremely lightweight can play a role in contributing to the issue. Initially, they might be pleasant to the touch, but in most cases, they make the foot less aware of what is beneath it. When we remark that something is little heavier, we are not referring to cumbersome boots or shoes that make you feel heavy. What we are talking about is the ideal amount of weight that will provide your body with a feeling of stability. A sufficient amount of structure such that when you walk, you feel your heels coming into contact with the ground, your toes pushing off, and your entire stride remains engaged from the beginning to the end. An elderly nurse named Margaret, who was 83 years old and retired, was a firm believer in her old leather walking shoes. Not at all flashy were they. It wasn't even that much of an excessive price. However, she stated that they made her walk as if she had intended to. During each phase, she received comments, because she could feel the sidewalk through the sole of her shoe. She was able to maintain her alertness, yet it did not hurt her. And there is yet another advantage to having this tactile sensitivity. Additionally, it heightens your awareness of the way you walk. It ensures that you remain in sync with your stride. You will have a significantly lower chance of dragging your feet, a lower chance of catching a toe in a rug, and a significantly higher chance of lifting, landing, and rolling through each stride with intention. Shoe styles that are overly soft, too loose, or too quiet might lead to a walking motion that is similar to shuffling. Furthermore, shuffles, when done over a period of time, enhance the chance of falling, particularly inside, where hazards such as throw rugs, uneven floorboards, or small steps become unnoticed. Shoes that hug your foot, create that sensory contact, and stabilize your heel are the kind of shoes that encourage movement that is active rather than passive. Not glazed over, but rather grounded. In the event that you have been wearing slippers throughout the whole day, or if your preferred pair of shoes feels like air on your feet, it may be time to reconsider your footwear choices. Attempt to walk in something that has a little bit more body. Do you notice a difference in the way you stride? It is important to pay attention to the way in which your feet communicate with your brain when they are receiving clear messages. Simply because maintaining your balance and muscles is not enough to keep you on your feet. The issue is one of awareness. In addition, the correct shoes not only shield you from the earth, but they also bring you back in touch with yourself. It is possible that this reconnection is one of the most underappreciated secrets to moving in a secure, self-assured, and independent manner, step by step, year after year. Lastly, some thoughts. Taking a time to think about the 5 surprising ways that you just heard is a good idea as we get to the end of this video. They wasn't difficult to understand. It was not necessary for them to undergo pricey therapy. specialized equipment, or significant changes in their lifestyle. Not only did they offer awareness, but it was also what they required. The awareness of how you walk, how you turn, how you carry your weight, how your body responds to the environment, and how even the tiniest alterations can lead to the most significant changes in stability are all important aspects of walking. In point of fact, the majority of individuals believe that falling is a random occurrence or an accident. But the truth is that falling typically begins a significant amount of time before the moment that a person touches the ground. It all begins with the routines that we develop, the footwear that we put on, the manner in which we move about our homes, and the level of attention, or lack thereof, that we bring to each step. The following is what I hope you will take away from this. Walking is not something that you should be terrified of. To maintain your safety, you do not have to refrain from moving around. In point of fact, the more deliberately you move from one stride to the next, from one scan to the next, and from one swing to the next, the more your body will recall what it already knows, which is how to maintain your balance, how to remain rooted in the ground, and how to keep moving forward. To answer your question, which of these 5 stood out to you the most? Do you mean the concept of allowing your arms to swing once more? Do you have your feet planted before you turn? What about better shoes that allow you to feel the earth beneath you? It is possible that you have already been engaging in 1 or 2 of these activities without even being aware that they were having an effect. Leave a comment below and let us know. It's possible that the tale you tell is exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.